One tactical tweak. One player stepping up with 3 assists. And suddenly, Wrexham showed the entire championship what happens when they stop respecting opponents and start playing their own game. Alright Wrexham fans, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we cover the Red Dragons like nobody else. The tactics, the performances, the stories that matter. 3 massive stories for you today. First up, we're looking at which Wrexham players have been absolute workhorses this season, the ever-presents who've started every single championship match. Then, Phil Parkinson's revealing what beating Coventry really means for his squad's confidence heading into 2 huge games before the international break. But stick around for story number 3, because this is where it gets really interesting. Josh Windass has just dropped some truth bombs about how Wrexham need to play, what went wrong against Middlesbrough, and why the tactical shift against Coventry could be the blueprint for the rest of the season. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Story 1. Right, let's talk about the workhorses. The players Phil Parkinson absolutely cannot do without. We're just over a quarter of the way through the championship season, and only 2 Wrexham players have started every single league match. 2 blokes who've been there from minute 1 of game 1 right through to now. Max Cluth at centre-back and Kiefer Moore up front. 13 matches, 13 starts each. That tells you everything about how crucial these 2 are to the way Wrexham play. Cluth has been absolutely solid at the back, no-nonsense defending, organising the backline, dealing with everything the championship's thrown at him. And more. Well, we'll get to him in a minute, but 9 goals in all competitions, 7 in the league. He's not just starting games, he's winning them. Now, there were 3 ever-presents heading into that massive Coventry match on Friday night. George Dobson had started every single game until Parkinson named him on the bench for the first time this season. Don't panic though, he came on during the 3-2 win, so he's still been involved in every league match. That's the kind of squad depth and rotation Wrexham need at this level. Matty James is another one who's been involved in all 13 matches, 8 starts, 5 appearances off the bench. The experience he brings is massive, especially in this physical, demanding championship. Lewis O'Brien started every match until recently but has now featured in 12 of the 13 fixtures, 11 starts and 1 sub-appearance. Ryan Longman's missed only 1 league game with 9 starts and 3 sub-appearances, and here's an interesting one. Sam Smith has made 11 championship appearances, but every single one has come off the bench. That's proper impact sub-territory. Arthur Okonkwo in goal and Josh Windass in midfield have both reached double figures with 9 starts and 1 substitute appearance each. In total, Parkinson's used 23 players in the league this season. Only 3 names on the squad list haven't featured in the championship yet: goalkeeper Callum Burton and midfielders Ollie Rathbone and Elliot Lee. All 3 have played in the League Cup though, so they're getting minutes. What does all this tell us? Parkinson's rotating intelligently, managing his squad, making sure nobody's running on empty. But he's also got his core players, Cluth and Moore at the heart of everything, Dobson and James controlling midfield when needed, and a group of lads who can step in and do a job. That depth is going to be absolutely crucial as we head deeper into the season. Story 2. Right, story number 2, and this is all about confidence and momentum. Phil Parkinson's come out after that brilliant Coventry win and said exactly what every Wrexham fan needed to hear. This victory is going to give his players a massive boost. And he's not wrong, is he? Beating the championship leaders at home, ending their unbeaten run, the last team in the entire EFL without a loss, that's the kind of result that can shift the entire mood around a squad. Wrexham are currently sitting in 15th in the table, which might not sound spectacular, but context matters. They've just beaten the team at the very top. They're unbeaten in 3 league matches. 7 points from the last 9 available. And they've got 2 massive fixtures coming up, Portsmouth away tomorrow and Charlton at home on Saturday, before the international break. Parkinson knows the timing of this win couldn't be better. Listen to what he said: "It was brilliant to see the whole stadium rocking when those goals went in and everyone enjoying the night. I think the Sky cameras captured a great game of football, fantastic advert for the championship. 2 teams with a lot of honesty and obviously we're pleased. We faced a top team and we'll take confidence from that." That last line is key: we'll take confidence from that. Parkinson's using this result as fuel. He's telling his players, you can compete with anyone in this division. You can beat the leaders. You belong here. The build-up to this moment has been interesting too. Wrexham beat Oxford 1-0 to claim their first home league win of the season. Then they drew 1-1 with second-placed Middlesbrough after conceding a late equaliser. And then they took down Coventry. 7 points from 9 against 3 of the league's top teams. Parkinson reflected on that sequence. The Oxford game was a big win for us because in the aftermath we were going to play away at Middlesbrough and at home to Coventry. On paper, those are quite daunting challenges. Quite daunting? That's an understatement. But Wrexham have come through it with their heads held high. And here's what's really encouraging. Parkinson's talking about how the Coventry performance reminded him of classic Wrexham. The Wrexham that fans have watched storm through the National League, through League Two, through League One. Attacking with intent. Aggressive in the challenges. Taking the game to opponents instead of sitting back. Against Coventry, it was a performance our supporters have seen at all levels we've been at, Parkinson said. We attacked with real intent and were aggressive in challenges when needed, and that's what our supporters are used to seeing over the last 3 or 4 years. That's massive. Because for a few weeks there, it felt like Wrexham were being a bit too cautious, a bit too respectful of championship opposition. But against Coventry, they got back to being Wrexham. And it worked. Now, those were big, but what I'm about to tell you next could completely reshape how Wrexham approach the rest of this season. This is where it gets really interesting. Story 3. Alright, here we go, the main event. Josh Windass has just revealed exactly what's been going wrong for Wrexham in recent weeks and what needs to change moving forward. And honestly, this might be the most important insight we've had all season. After that 3-2 win over Coventry, where, by the way, Windass assisted all 3 Kiefer Moore goals, the attacking midfielder sat down and dropped some serious truth bombs about Wrexham's approach and mentality in the Championship. Here's what he said, and listen to this carefully. With the quality we've got in the team, it's no surprise to me. With the last few games, I think we've shown teams a little bit too much respect, sitting off a little bit. Too much respect. Sitting off. That's Josh Windass, one of Wrexham's key players, basically saying they've been too passive. Too cautious. Too worried about championship opponents instead of backing themselves. And he's absolutely right, isn't he? Think about some of those performances earlier in the season. Wrexham would start well, maybe take a lead, and then invite pressure. They'd drop deeper, let teams come at them, and end up hanging on for dear life or conceding late goals. The Middlesbrough match is the perfect example. Wrexham took an early lead, looked comfortable, and then in the second half completely sat off and allowed Borough to dominate possession. And what happened? Late equaliser. 2 points dropped. Windass called that out directly. I think Middlesbrough had a lot more possession than us, and that changed against Coventry. We were more assertive. We sat off Middlesbrough a little bit too much in the second half and brought pressure on ourselves, and that's how they ended up getting the equaliser. See, this is what I love about Windass. He's not afraid to be honest. He's not giving the standard footballer interview answers. He's actually analysing what went wrong and what needs to change. And here's the key part. Against Coventry, Wrexham changed their approach completely. They pressed higher up the pitch. They were more aggressive. They played riskier football. They dominated from start to finish. Windass again, we pressed a lot higher and were more aggressive, played a little bit more risky, and I thought we dominated from start to finish. We've obviously got some of the best players in their positions in the division, in my opinion, so we have to go and show that instead of letting teams dominate us. That confidence, some of the best players in their positions in the division, that's what Wrexham need. Not arrogance, but belief. Belief that they're not just here to survive in the Championship. They're here to compete. Now, here's where it gets tactically interesting. Phil Parkinson made a specific change for the Coventry match that had a huge impact. He told Windass to play higher up the pitch, closer to Kiefer Moore, instead of dropping deep into midfield. Windass explained it. I played a bit of a different role, a bit higher up the pitch. The gaffer didn't want me coming as deep. He wanted me to stay higher and create a little bit more because he didn't want me suffocating our midfield, and obviously it worked. Obviously it worked. 3 assists, 3 goals, 3-2 win over the league leaders. But think about what that tactical tweak actually means. By keeping Windass higher, Wrexham had 2 genuine attacking threats that Coventry had to worry about. Moore's physicality and goal threat, plus Windass's creativity and movement. Coventry couldn't just focus on stopping Moore because Windass was constantly in dangerous positions. And it changed the entire dynamic of the match. Windass said Coventry couldn't breathe for a single moment. Every goal kick they had to launch long because Wrexham's pressing was so intense, starting from such high positions. We didn't let Coventry breathe for any moment. Every goal kick they kicked long because we were in such high starting positions, so I think we surprised them a little bit. Here's what nobody's talking about yet. This could be the blueprint for the rest of Wrexham's season. If they can replicate this performance, this intensity, This belief against other championship sides, they're not going to be sitting in 15th for long. They're going to climb that table. Because here's the thing about the championship, it's the most competitive league in world football. On any given day, anyone can beat anyone. The difference between the top 6 and the bottom 6 is razor thin in terms of quality. What separates teams is mentality, tactics, and belief. And what Windass has just articulated is exactly what Wrexham need, a mentality shift. Stop respecting opponents so much that you forget what made you successful in the first place. Stop sitting off and inviting pressure. Start pressing high, playing aggressive, taking the game to teams. Windass put it perfectly, we've got the players and the athleticism to take games to teams, and that's what we've done against Coventry. They've got the players. They've got the athleticism. They've got the quality. Now they just need to play with that belief every single week. Think about Wrexham's journey. National League champions. League 2 champions. Promoted to the Championship. All of that success came from playing on the front foot, attacking with intent, overwhelming opponents with pace and power. For the first few months of this championship season, Wrexham seemed to forget that identity a bit. They were trying to be something they're not, a cautious, defensive, sit-back-and-counter team. And it wasn't working. But against Coventry, they remembered who they are. And the result was incredible. Now, the big question is, can they do it consistently? Can they take this blueprint and apply it against Portsmouth, against Charlton, against every opponent they face for the rest of the season? Because if they can, if Parkinson keeps Windass in that higher role, if they keep pressing aggressively, if they keep attacking with intent, then Wrexham are going to shock a lot of people in this division. This isn't just about one good result. This is about rediscovering an identity. This is about believing in what made them successful in the first place. This is about Wrexham being Wrexham again. So there you have it, 3 stories that paint a picture of where Wrexham are right now. Max Cluth and Kiefer Moore have been absolute warriors, starting every single championship match. Phil Parkinson's using this Coventry win to build confidence ahead of 2 crucial fixtures before the international break. And Josh Windass has just laid out exactly what Wrexham need to do tactically and mentally to succeed in this division. Here's what I think happens next. Parkinson sticks with this approach. Windass stays higher up the pitch. Wrexham keep pressing aggressively. And they start climbing that championship table. This is what the Hollywood story was always supposed to be about. Not just promotion after promotion, but building a team that can genuinely compete at the highest levels. A team that doesn't just survive in the championship but thrives. From the National League to challenging in the second tier, from non-league obscurity to beating championship leaders, this is Wrexham's journey. And it's far from over. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you buying into this tactical shift? Do you think Windass is right about showing teams less respect? Hit that like button if you're backing the lads, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Come on you Reds!